Hiya. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for staying with us. What happens is when you find out what's going on, you go one of two ways. You'll either read the stuff or see the stuff so you can see what is absolutely going on, absolute corruption and all that, and you get scared, you go and hide under a rock and you never look at that stuff again, and anyone speaks to you about it, you say, I'm not interested. Or you see the stuff, you dig deeper, and yeah, you get scared because you can see what's going on, but you keep going because you know if you don't, it could be the end for everyone. So for all those that are keeping going, good on you. Now, as you can see here, this feature is temporarily blocked. You recently posted something that violates Facebook Snakebook's policies, so you've been temporarily blocked from using the feature. For more information, visit the help centre. To avoid being blocked, again, please make sure you've read and understand Facebook's, I don't understand anything of Facebook's, community standards. This block will be active for 3 days more. If you think that this doesn't go against the community standards, blah 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 crap. And here's another one. You can't post or comment for 3 days. This is because 2 of your posts go against our community standards of hate speech, and because you previously posted something that didn't follow. You weren't a good frigging slave. No one else can see these posts. Sweden in total shock as Muslim refugee rapes girl to death, then continues after she died. Now that's what I shared. That's real news. But of course you could say it's anti-Muslim. No, it's not. It's anti-rape of children. That's what it is. But according to Facebook, raping of children is perfectly allowable. We'll see. You pissed a lot of people off. What do you do? Told them the effing truth. Theresa's jihadis. Why is Theresa May hiding from reporters? It turns out that London attacker Richard Redouane and Manchester bomber Salam Abedi were part of a secret group of UK jihadis recruited by MI5 under the watch of Theresa May to fight in Libya and Syria. It's more treason. A patient cured is a patient lost. First day of med school. European Union Employee of the Month. An inconvenient truth. Meth is a Schedule II drug given to children for ADHD, while cannabis remains a Schedule I drug and can't be given to children to save their lives. Of all the enemies the US is at war with, none have actually attacked the United States. As you can see, the true Israelis are as sick and horrified of what the Zionist scum are doing as everyone else. Authentic rabbis always oppose Zionism and the State of Israel. Give back to the Palestinians their land, home and property. Give back to the Palestinians their entire land. Now this picture, when shooter is going inside, victim has bare feet. When shooter walks back, same victim, now wearing blue socks. And have you seen the video of the magic bullets? It's out there. I shared it on Facebook before I got banned. But if you go and have a look, you'll see him where you're supposed to be streaming it live on Facebook as he's shooting, and you can see him go bang, 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 and the spent shells are flying out. And if you watch the shells, they get to a certain point and then just disappear. It's CGI. Yes, it's another total false flag, fake bullshit. As I mentioned yesterday, I think it was, or the other day anyway, that the leader of Nottingham criminal cartel is resigning and thinks he's walking away. Well, my mate Mickey's got words for him. It's far from over. The fat lady singing will be coming soon, along with the whistleblowers, Johnny boy. Politicians and diapers must be changed often, and for the same reason. Council tells homeless woman she's fit enough to sleep rough. Torbay Council has come under fire for saying the woman could cope and function reasonably well. You know what we need to do with these councillors? Close the bank accounts, take the homes off them, and chuck them on the streets and tell them they're well enough, far too well enough to sleep on the streets. A seaside council is under fire after a young woman with mental health problems was told that she would manage being homeless. The extraordinary comments were made in a letter informing the woman, who has not been identified, that she did not qualify for priority needs status for a council home. The letter came after she was told she was losing her emergency B&B accommodation. Despite accepting that she suffers from depression, emotional unstable personality disorder and borderline personality disorder, an officer from Torbay Criminal Cartel wrote, "You are a person that I am satisfied is able to cope and function reasonably well with day-to-day living, and this would, I believe, still be the case if you were to become homeless or to remain homeless." That bastard wants locking up. Oh no, because that's too good for me. He wants chucking on the streets. We need rid of these councils. They are nothing but paedophile protecting scum. Child abuse cover-up. Call yourself women. UK Privy Council member collude to cover up state child abuse in Scotland. When the Scottish Government stated it would set up an inquiry into state child abuse in December 2014, Nicola Sturgeon, paedophile, then dragged it out, first taking 6 months to appoint a chair on the independent panel, independent my arse, whom two religious orders objected to, delaying it further until October 2015. The independent panel of 3 people were finally appointed to lead the inquiry: Professor Michael Lamb, Susan O'Brien QC and Glenn Houston. Despite Scottish Government claims this would be one of the most wide-reaching inquiries Scotland has ever seen, by 25th of November 2015, survivors accused Holyrood of not now being complicit in the cover-up. After the inquiry remit was restricted to mainly abuse in resident care, blocking many survivors from giving their testimony in one fell swoop. The charity supported the survivors, stating, "The decision resulted in many victims who had suffered grievous abuse being excluded from the inquiry. We are of the view that this decision has enabled institutions and organisations who have covered up criminal activity to escape public scrutiny and possible prosecution. The failure to extend the remit of the inquiry has effectively resulted in the government becoming complicit in a cover-up of abuse." Well, the government covering up child abuse. Well, you could have knocked me over with a feather. For all anyone out there still thinking of giving the kids vaccinations. Nurse vaccinates 1-year-old baby behind mother's back. Baby dies instantly. The Samoan government has seized the MMR measles, mumps and rubella vaccine from around the country and launched an investigation following the deaths of 2 babies last Friday. The first baby, a 1-year-old girl, died within 3 minutes of being injected by the vaccine by a nurse at Safotu Hospital in Sevilla. 2 hours later, another family brought their baby, a 1-year-old boy, to the hospital for his vaccination. According to TV1 Samoa, when the family heard about the first death, they refused to let their son be vaccinated, but allegedly the nurse did it without parents' consent. He died within a minute of being injected. The Ministry of Health CEO Dr. Taik Nasiri has ordered the immediate withdrawal of the vaccine, and all hospital staff involved have been stood down. Prime Minister Tulelepu Salele has seen sent his condolences to the families and say he has called for a full inquiry into the devastating incident. There are already processes that will determine if negligence is a factor, and if so, rest assured those processes will be implemented to the letter to ensure that such a tragedy will not be repeated. and those responsible will be made to answer, he said. Even though countries like Australia and New Zealand recommend the MMR vaccine, claiming it has an excellent safety record, clearly lies. This is inherently false. Both governments have been failing to inform parents of the massive global adverse reaction, including deaths from the vaccine. Despite the deaths of injuries, they continue to push it as 100% safe and effective. ANR suggests an urgent royal commission into the dangerous and faulty vaccine before the death and injury rate continues. These deaths are avoidable. Parents should do their own research before having their kids vaccinated. In fact, many doctors are breaking their silence and warning parents that vaccines are not always safe, effective, or even necessary. So the simplest answer to this is don't get your children vaccinated. You will be giving them a death sentence. A best-selling novelist has stoked a passionate discussion around the topic of vaccine safety with a Facebook post that has gone viral. Until you can prove vaccines do not cause DNA mutations, I do not consent, posted Jamie Maguire, an author of 20 books in the new adult genre for ages 18 to 30, including Walking Disaster, which debuted at #1 on the New York Times, USA Today, and Wall Street Journal bestseller list, as well as the apocalyptic thriller Red Hill. Her March 8 post, which has 2,600 shares, 8.3 thousand reactions, and more than 19,000 comments, and is actually a repost of the original by Facebook user Jamie Lorraine, continued. Until you can prove vaccines do not carry cancer-causing retroviruses, I do not consent. Until you can prove vaccines do not impair fertility, I do not consent. And always get it in your head. They need your consent. When you are giving your children to be poisoned, you are doing it. You are giving consent for them to kill your children. If it's illegal to find a cure under the Cancer Act 1930, well, it's actually illegal to say there's a cure. Why is Cancer Research UK begging people for money under false pretenses? Kentucky governor says he exposes children to chickenpox rather than getting vaccine. Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin said he made sure all his 9 children were exposed to chickenpox and caught the disease instead of giving them a vaccine. They said they had it as children, they were miserable for a few days, and they all turned out fine. Bevin said in an interview with WKCT, a Bowling Green radio station, Bevin and his wife, Glenna, have 9 children between the ages of 5 and 16, according to his campaign website. The governor says he supports parents who choose to get their children vaccinated and also those who decline to do so. But he said the decision shouldn't be up to the government. This is America, he said. The federal government should not be forcing this upon people. They just shouldn't. CNN has reached out to Bevin for comment. Chickenpox is a very contagious disease that causes a blister-like rash, itching, tiredness and fever, according to the US Center for Disease Control. Or you can have the vaccine and die. And prevention. It can spread by touching or breathing in virus particles. It can be especially serious for babies, pregnant women and people with weakened immune systems. Which, if you've had a vaccine, you'll have a weakened immune system. Bevin's remarks came several days after a teen in Kentucky sued his local health department, which had temporarily barred students who weren't immunised against chickenpox from attending school after an outbreak at the Catholic school. There have been 32 cases of chickenpox reported. Oh, 32! Well, that's like a drop in the ocean. The teen and his father alleged that he's been discriminated against because of religious beliefs. Some Catholics worry about vaccines derived from cell lines associated with abortion. The Northern Kentucky Health Department argued the ban was an appropriate and necessary response to prevent further spread of the contagious illness. But hold on there just a second. If the vaccine worked, what have they got to worry about? An unvaccinated kid, huh? Ask yourself that. Report finds UN employs 3,300 paedophiles, 33, responsible for 60,000 rapes. A former United Nations aid boss has blown the whistle on paedophilia within the United Nations, releasing a disturbing report that claims the UN employs at least 3,300 paedophiles and says UN staff have carried out at least 60,000 rapes in the last decade while indulging in unchecked sex abuse around the world under the protection of the international organisation. Former senior United Nations officer David MacLeod made the bombshell claims in a dossier handed over to British DFID Secretary Priti Patel last year. In other words, that's been buried. In the dossier, Professor MacLeod estimated that there are at least 3,300 paedophiles working for the world body's various agencies, along with thousands more predatory sex abusers specifically target aid charity jobs to get close to vulnerable women and children. Professor MacLeod also says there has been an endemic cover-up of the sickening crimes for 2 decades by the United Nations, with the UN firing anybody who attempts to blow the whistle on paedophilia within the global organisation. Sharing his dossier with British newspaper The Sun, Professor MacLeod warned that the spiralling abuse scandal was on the same scale as the Catholic churches. The reported academic said there are tens of thousands of aid workers around the world with paedophilia tendencies, but if you wear a UNICEF t-shirt, nobody will ask what you're up to. You have the impunity to do whatever you want. It's endemic across the aid industry across the world. The system is at fault and should have stopped this years ago. Second US jury finds Bayer Monsanto guilty of causing cancer. A second US jury found Bayer glyphosate-based Roundup weed killer responsible for causing cancer. Just a few months after Monsanto quietly changed its name to Bayer, the company was forced to pay out $289 million in damages over similar cases in claims in different cases. Investigating.com reports Tuesday's unanimous jury decision in San Francisco federal court, which came after 5 days of deliberation, was not a finding of Bayer's liability for the cancer of plaintiff Edwin Hardeman. Liability and damages will be decided by the same jury in the second trial phase beginning on Wednesday. I hope they all give her 10 trillion in damages. Hopefully it'll shut down those corrupt bastards that are killing millions and millions. Bayer, which denies allegations of glyphosate and Roundup causes cancer, in a statement on Tuesday said it was disappointed with the jury's initial decision. Bayer acquired Monsanto, the long-time maker of Roundup, for $63 billion last year. Well, therefore make it 100 trillion. They will end the bastards. We are confident the evidence in phase 2 will show that Monsanto's conduct has been appropriate and the company should not be liable for Mr. Hardman's cancer, she said. Shares in Bayer were down 9.6% at GMT on trade. Glyphosate is the world's most deadliest, widely used weed killer. Monsanto Roundup was the first glyphosate-based weed killer, but it is no longer patent protected, and many other versions are now available. Bayer does not provide sales figures for the product. The case was only the second of some 11,200 Roundup lawsuits. It's to go to trial in the United States. Another California was awarded $289 million in August after the state court jury found Roundup caused this cancer, sending Bayer shares plunging at the time. That award was later reduced to $78 million and is on appeal. Bayer has claimed that the jury was overly influenced by plaintiffs' lawyers' allegations of corruption misconduct and did not focus on the science. So they're going to try and get out of it, as they all do. But Roundup and anything with glyphosate in it is poisonous, and it's in all wines that come from America. In fact, what they tend to do before they pick the grapes, they spray them the day they're about to pick them, so you've got that shit all over them. So stop drinking stuff from America, stop eating stuff from America. It is all poison. France. Evidence of a dictatorship? Yeah, you bet. France to deploy troops to maintain security during Yellow Vest protests? No. France to deploy troops because it is a dictatorship. And when you can't protest against your criminal government, you're in a dictatorship. We got that here coming too. Remember, there's 10,000 of the bastards over here. French President Emmanuel Traitor Macron has announced that soldiers will be deployed across the country to help maintain security during Yellow Vest protests planned this weekend. Macron said the military will secure government buildings and other sites to allow police forces to focus on maintaining public obedience. In comments reported on Wednesday by government spokesman Benjamin Graveau, about 7,000 soldiers, most armed with automatic weapons, are already deployed across the country in what the military calls Operation Sentinel, which was created to protect sensitive sites following deadly attacks in 2015. Bullshit. It's a dictatorship being rolled out in your face. The French traitorous government announced on Monday new security measures and a ban on Yellow Vest protests along the Champs-Élysées Avenue in Paris and in 2 other cities following riots on Saturday caused by the agent provocateurs, which are police dressed as protesters. Saturday that left luxury stores ransacked and charred from arson caused by the, you got it, yep, the agent provocateurs. Sky News can reveal that the government has taken out hundreds of gagging orders as part of its preparation for a no-deal Brexit. The orders, formerly known as non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, are legally binding contracts to stop confidential conversations being talked about in public. In other words, freedom of speech is gone. We're in a dictatorship. They are typically used to maintain secrecy around corporate deals or to protect intellectual property. However, we have discovered that the use of these NDAs has become prevalent across great swathes of UK government. Using freedom of information requests, Sky News asked departments to reveal how many NDAs each had taken out as part of their preparations for Brexit. It's a dictatorship in the UK, a dictatorship in the France. This is the move. This is their move for the one world government. And if we don't stand up and stop it now, there's no one to blame but us. England's new Cat Rice says sorry for pro-IRA tweet. What you're really eating? Play food detective. Yeah, well, they've got diet shit on there. That's all that aspartame, so that's poison. Diane Kruger, how Mossad trained me to spy. Locked away. Family fight to free their autistic son. Thousands more children and adults also imprisoned. EU delays Brexit until 12th of April. See, I've been saying, you know that's been watching me, know that I've been saying we aren't leaving. There's no way we're leaving. Here's the evidence. This is just a start. When it gets then, it'll be kicked further down the road. There's no plans for us to leave, but there are mega plans to keep us tied in. Chief Whip revealed his despair as at PM playing blame game. Brussels offers extension for an extra fortnight, even if Commons votes against Prime Minister Monster's plan. Betrayal on the 22nd of May if they agree no deal. Tories top enforcers says that May's address to nation was appalling. Trust broken between Julian Smith and PM. She just won't listen to us. That's because she's a Zionist traitor and stabbing the British men, women and children in the back, slitting their throats and twisting the knife. UK military activates no-deal team in bunker beneath Ministry of Defence. MP threatened and told not to travel alone after being blamed for turmoil. And there you have Another treasonous bastard kissing and whispering to Theresa May, because the microphone may have been left on. Thank you for betraying all the men, women and children in Britain, stabbing them in the back, slitting them throats. You're doing a good job as a Zionist bitch. Plus, Mark Steele, Theresa is Brexit land politics gets curiouser. A leader for our age, Jancy Ardern's world-class statesmanship, smarter than the average bearder, and happy chappy. What sex health clinics can teach us? Trying to teach us sex nouns like the LGBT, whatever crap they're doing. The Guardian. May's appeal falls flat on as EU seizes control of Brexit deal. Asked 3 times what she would do if she lost the vote, she couldn't say. It was awful, evasive even by its standards. Cyclone Idea. Crisis grows amid the floodwaters. Fossil find, 53 new species uncovered. Yeah, I don't believe anything of that shit. Oh, speaking of shit, the scum. Why Jade mattered. They killed her deliberately. As Johnson freed today, pedo prem star banned from seeing his kids. EU feud on new deadline for Brexit. No deal, no leave. We aren't leaving ever. Not if these bastards and traitors and treasonous shits in Parliament have anything to do with it. Mirror. April 12th, EU gives May more time, but not much. Sir David Attenborough, most incredible adventure yet. Yeah, he's another one of them. Missing Libby's body found in river. Family devastated as student discovered 6 weeks after vanishing. Daily fail. Here we go. 461,000 litter slave heroes, they class them. Start tidying the UK today in the mail-backed spring clean. Yes, you be a good slave. You go and do the work for free that the councils are supposed to do. Oh, but wait, we've got no money because, you know, we put it all towards our pensions. May calls EU's bluff on no deal. Bullshit. She warns I'm ready to crash out, but 18 ministers threaten we'll quit. Army set up at HQ in nuclear bunker. Body pulled out of rivers in missing Libya. Told you we were never leaving. Never ever leaving. And kicking down the road just ain't going to do anything. The Daily Tell-Lie graph. Clock runs down on May as Tories tell her time's up. 1922 committee chairman delivers message to number 10 as Prime Minister faces backbench backlash over Brexit no deal strategy. England's Rice says sorry for IRA remark. Transgender lobby use police to stifle critics. Thirsty sailors spark Bristol Channel search. Prepare for no deal, Macron tells Britain. Rudd's end of the pier show. Metro. No deal Brexit bunker at Mod. Military steps up plans for the UK crash out. Nuke-proof room is open to direct Operation Redfold. EU set to offer May 22nd delay in PM can. So they get to go down in a military bunker while the rest of us get left up here. Can you see the hypocrisy here? Anything but independent. What the next steps for Parliament? Well, they all need dragging out and sacking and prosecuting. We must stop Brexit wrecking the planet. Don't talk shit. Why are women missing smear tests? Because they know it causes cancer. Solving England's midfield problem. Taking back control. May forced to wait while EU leaders decide the fate of the UK. But I thought we were leaving and we could decide our own fate. It would seem we're not. Does that mean I've been correct all along? We aren't leaving. You know we aren't. FT. May faces national emergency as EU haggles over Brexit guillotine. Yeah, they all need guillotining. TUC and CBI uniting, start warning, Brussels summit takes control of timetable. But I thought we were leaving, eh? Senior Wirecard executive approved transition in Singapore fraud probe. Auditing shake-up set to hit company directors. So there you have it in black and white. We aren't leaving, like I've said all along. No way of leaving. I strongly suspect we're going to get a false flag before the extended leave date to distract us from the treason that's going on in Parliament by all parties, not just the Tories. All of them are involved. Lib Dems, Labour, Conservatives, Green, you name it. All of them are controlled opposition. It makes no difference who you vote for. So if you're voting, wake up. Stop. If voting made a difference, we wouldn't be allowed to vote. We've had a referendum. The whole nation voted to leave the EU. We're supposed to be leaving in 7 days' time, a week today. We're not leaving a week today now. If you can't see the treason, high treason and sedition that's carried out in Parliament, maybe there's no hope for you. But don't be one of those that goes and hides under a rock and does nothing about it. Start talking to your friends, your relatives. You've got evidence now. If you've been like me, you've been saying, we ain't leaving. Now you've got the evidence. Show them the evidence that we aren't leaving. And when that date, say, I bet you when it gets to that date, that gets knocked back as well. And if it does, will you then believe we have never had any plans to leave the EU? In fact, we're more tied in since we voted to leave than we were when we voted to leave.